soap, what I want to do is have quite a dense, just a beautiful orange fragrance in my soap. So I've got some orange fivefold here. Now what is orange fivefold? Well, orange fivefold is orange essential oil that has been essentially kind of concentrated 5 times. So by fivefold we mean 5 times. Now I couldn't get any hold of tenfold, so I'm going to make an orange essential out of this. But you will find a lot of people will say, oh yeah, but if you use just citrus oils, they never last. And that's because they're a top note. A top note oil is the kind of oil that lingers right in the back of your nose. They last such a small amount of time that in the whole saponification process they don't last. So you need to add things to this. Now I want a citrusy fragrance, but I also want quite a bit of richness to my soap. So alongside my orange fivefold, to get a really good essential oil fragrance that works, I need to add a little bit more. Yeah, maybe a little bit more than a little bit more. Now this is quite a complex essential oil I'm going to make. I may use all of them, I may use none of them, but we've got basically various fragrances here which kind of sit into 3 distinct areas. Okay. So we have our top notes, our middle notes and our base notes. Now some of them may cross over a little bit into some of the kind of mid ranges, but they'll kind of align pretty much with one. So alongside my orange fivefold, which is going to be the major of my kind of citrusy soap, I've also got some lemongrass, a little bit more herbaceous, but it pairs very well with the orange and it gives you a little bit more of a rich fragrance in there, along with some bergamot, some Sicilian bergamot, which is similar to orange but has kind of different notes and they hit in a different way. So those are going to be my top notes. Okay, in my middle I've got a couple of florals like some Mei Chang, which again is citrusy to an extent, but it has quite a nice kind of medicinal smell to it, I think. I'm just going to give it a quick yeah, it's just kind of got a little bit more of a medicinal aspect to it. I've got a little bit of ylang ylang, which I really like. It's got a nice floral fragrance. It works quite well with citruses. I've also got here some petitgrain. Now petitgrain is again on the citrus side, but it's got very grassy green herbaceous notes to it, and I quite like that one. And then in the bottom here we've got some amyris. Now amyris again sits in the citrus area, but it's kind of rich and dark and kind of almost ambery or kind of oody. It has that real kind of like smokiness to it. I've got a little bit of vetiver here. Now vetiver you have to be very careful with. It is horrifically strong and it's got that real kind of like smoky note to it. I've got a little bit of ginger. Now you have to be quite careful with ginger. It can overpower, but again it works quite well alongside a citrus. So we're going to put a little bit of that in. And finally I've got some patchouli, which everyone knows it's a love or a loathe fragrance. It kind of reminds me, now it's going to sound really strange, but they used to make slime in the kind of 80s, 90s that you used to buy when you went out to Spain, and this always reminds me of that, but it's got kind of, everyone knows patchouli. So I'm going to make up my first kind of like 8 grams. I'm going to put roughly kind of 4 grams of my orange in. We'll maybe here a little while. It's got 4 grams of that. I'm going to take this up to 8 with roughly 2 grams of my lemongrass. And also take that up to my 8 grams with some bergamot. There we go. So that's kind of my top citrusy notes all together. Give that a little Okay, so I've got some really nice kind of uplifting, beautiful fragrance notes in there. Any essential oils that may spill, just wipe them up because they can be a little bit corrosive. Right, so we're going to go in with our middles. We're certainly going to go in with our petitgrain here. And I'm going to go with about 2 grams of this petitgrain. Actually, no, I'm going to go with a gram of that, just at the moment. So that's kind of brought it down to be a little bit more kind of earthy. Our ylang ylang, I'm going to take I'm going to probably put a gram of that in as well. Gives us a little bit of a floral note in there. Liking that. Again, it's just lifted that, and let's get some Mei Chang in. Let's take that up to what we're on to 10 grams. So I'm going to take this up to 12 grams. So just 2 grams of this one. Now I'm wafting the smell rather than put my nose right over it. Okay, that's smelling rather good. I think we might need a little bit more lemongrass in there, but let's just get a smidge of amyris in here. Now amyris is quite thick and gloopy, but we want like a touch of that into there. I want a touch of ginger, just a little bit, so this might make even like half a gram's worth, which gives me 12, 13, kind of 14 grams. Let's give that a little nose. Yeah, we're really getting those coming through. I'm going to put a touch of the patchouli, but I'm going to leave the vetiver because I think the amyris is really giving that to us. A little bit of petitgrain. Yeah, so those have kind of come in really quite strongly, but they're going to help everything last. I'm going to go in with another couple of grams of the Sicilian bergamot because I really enjoy that alongside the orange. Awesome. I'm going to go in with a little bit more of the lemongrass. And finally a little bit more of our orange. So there I've got my kind of citrus notes all going on. There's a little bit of floral, there's a little bit of other bits and bobs going in there, but ultimately it's got this really kind of quite nice, calm, calmness to it. I'm going to actually pop a little bit more Mei Chang in. Just kind of help. Awesome. So I've put 9 different oils in there. 3 top, 3 middle, 3 bottom, and I've got a really nice rich kind of smell, fragrance coming out there. Now in order just to keep that nice and fresh, I've got a little bit of cling film here that I'm just going to pop over the top whilst I get everything else together. Okay, so we've got our temperatures ready and we're going to kind of get our crack on with this. So this is my orange soap, so I've got all of my bits of orange stuff that I need to kind of get decanted off. Now I need to work relatively cool with this, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my essential oil blend into here first of all, because it needs to go through everything. Now Florals will make trace a little bit quicker, but citruses and oranges should make it go a little bit slower. So hopefully we're going to get a nice balance here. But what I am going to do is just take it very slowly. Pour our lye solution in to there. We're literally just going to bring this to a emulsion. Now start off by stirring, because I want this to stay relatively fluid. I'm just going to bring that into there. Looks like it's going to stay quite fluid. It hasn't kind of started to react or anything just yet. So we'll just pop this in, get rid of some of the air out of it. Very short bursts with this. Stir. Just until we get to an emulsion that's starting to split. Lovely fragrance, absolutely fantastic. Now, how are we doing on that? I think we may just get an emulsion there. So hopefully you can see that on the Stick Bell blender we've got no real separation happening. That's just about there. Let's just... So you're far better with these, just allowing it to come up to temperature, or up to trace, rather than trying to force it into trace, and just allowing everything to kind of settle in and float into the right spaces that you need. So we're going to decant some of this into our colours. So I've got this pot here just so I can control things a little bit easier. Lovely. So we're just going to pour a smidge into each one of these. Okay, should be plenty. Now what I'm going to do is kind of massage this into here. So that's one colour there. Next one is our brighter real bright orange. Yeah, we're starting to thicken it up a little bit. This one's always going to thicken up a little bit quicker because there's more of it. And there, I'm actually going to add just a smidge more into here. Got plenty of base there. And the next one, which is kind of muddy orange, but it's going to lighten a little bit with the soap. Nice bright one. So there's a couple of ways we can do this. We can either pour all of the soap in and then use these as kind of lines in the bottom, or we can pour a little bit, use the lines, and then top up with the rest of the soap a little bit later on. So I'm not sure. What we're going to do is add about yay much of the batter in. Okay, now once we cut these, it is going to go quite quick, so we just need to make sure that we are ready to go. So the way I'm going to do that is just get a knot tied in the top of each one of these, just so we can squeeze downwards and not have anything kind of burst up and away from us. One, two, three, and four, and so what we're going to do is just snip the end off of one of these, okay, and then we're going to kind of get it in underneath, squeeze, 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 underneath. There we go. Next one. Tip off that. It's a little bit looser, so get it in, underneath. Won't see any of this pattern until we bring it out right at the end. Tips off. So in we go. Through, 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 and through. Last one. Tip off. In we go. Squeezing, 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 squeezing. A little bit more of this one off. Goodness knows what we'll get with that, but we're trying to get a nice pattern going in the bottom there. So we've got all of those, and then what we're going to do is very gently add the rest of this on the top, like that. So gave us plenty long enough to work with it. Get that all in. I mean, I can smell that orange, but all of those are really kind of giving us some nice smells. And because we've got a little bit of this left, what I'm going to just do is I'm going to just on the top, that one, that one. That one, and that one. A bit like that. And I think what we'll do is I've got a little bit of this white left. Back in. Like that. And then in like that. We're going to cover that, pop it into the oven to C-pop, and we'll come back tomorrow and see what we've got with our orange fire soap. Okay, so here is our kind of fire orange soap, and you can see we've got a really nice colour here, and I think that blends in really nicely with the colours. I've got a colour hitting in the bottom here, which is great, and the colour on the top has avoided getting a lot of soda ash on it. Did touch the top with the cling film, so you need to be a little bit careful with that if you're going to do this at home. And the first thing I'm going to do really is to give myself a little bit of a fighting chance. I'm just going to take these edges off now, just with a sharp knife like that, because it's still relatively soft and this will need some time to cure up. So take a small sliver off the end here, and then bring that in and we'll see what sort of design we get in the middle of here. And there we go, lots of kind of drop swirls all alternating around in the bottom of that. Absolutely happy as Larry with that one. Let's see how that works in between. So I just wanted to see how that was going to work with our piping bags, and you can see we've got a little bit of movement there, but there's not too much and it's quite separated. You could always go through this with a hanger swirl if you wanted to get a little bit more movement, but I kind of quite like the separation we've got there, and because we poured all of this in one go, there's very little separation between the two colours. The one thing you have to watch with a hanger swirl is you may get a little bit too much muddying of the colours. So we've definitely got kind of 1, 2, 3, there's definitely a variation in colours, they're working really nicely together. Last one, I'm just going to sliver off the edge of this. And there we go, the ends have probably got a lot more swirling to them because that's where we turned around. But they're beautiful soaps, so we'll let those cure now for around about 1 month, which is about 4 weeks. And that should be a fantastic looking bar of soap. So if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. It really helps me grow and allows me to make more videos and tutorials for all of you. When you subscribe, don't forget to click the bell icon if you'd like to get notified when a new video is uploaded. And thanks a lot, Soapsters. I'll see you again next time.